What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and Elon has now threatened to go thermonuclear to name and shame some of these companies that were boycotting, or essentially, pseudo boycotting, soft boycotting advertising on Twitter because, well, basically the misinformation published by the mainstream press that suddenly Twitter was, going to let anything go and you were going to be able to do whatever you want, even though that was never the case. Elon Musk never said that. The moderation rules have not changed. The terms of service have not changed. The mainstream media wants to try to destroy Twitter because they can no longer control it. Make no mistake about it. I appreciate everyone tuning in for this week for all the wild Elon Musk news. If you're enjoying the coverage, all I ever ask is that you leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. It helps an absolute ton, and it makes it easier to find my videos. You see Mike Davis tweet out, "Dear Elon, you have nearly 114 million Twitter followers. Name and shame the advertisers who are succumbing to the advertiser boycotts so we can counter boycott. And get your $8 monthly subscription going ASAP so we can start to make up for lost revenue now." That's exactly how I felt. And I know that, let me correct something here quick. I think I unfairly took some generalization kind of pokes at people that work from home, generalizing them as lazy and whatnot. That wasn't fair. There are people that work from home that are lazy, but there are definitely people who are not. I work from home, right? And I do 7 videos a day and a live stream most nights of the week. There are lots of people who are good at working from home, and I just wanted to correct that. So, any hoozle. So all these advertisers were basically pulling back on advertising on Twitter because allegedly, like the NAACP and the ADL and all this kind of stuff, they essentially went to these advertisers and were like, "Oh my God, didn't you hear? The N-word went up 500%, even though it was a trolling campaign, which was quickly squashed. You probably shouldn't advertise on there. Oh my God, Elon Musk isn't going to stop election. He's going to let people say whatever they want about elections. You should probably not advertise on there." And a lot of big name companies backed out. For example, General Motors, Audi, Pfizer, General Mills, Volkswagen, and other big names are wary of potential changes to Twitter's policy, as well as the departure of top executives. Look, I don't know what their advertising budgets are for Twitter. It might not actually be as large as you think. Twitter has got to be a low value spend. You don't get a lot of demographic data on the users. Facebook in general is pretty rough, but if you're very, very good at targeting, you can make it work. Twitter is more like a brand play. It's not as good for direct sales of items, not as good as like Instagram is, again, because Instagram lets you target much better. This is coming from an advertiser. I'm not saying you can't make it work, but I'm just saying it's very difficult. You have to be very, very good. And it has to be the right product too. If you're advertising following somebody else on Twitter, that's probably a high conversion rate. So you have a bunch of people back out, and you have, the NAACP tweeting, "It's immoral, dangerous, and highly destructive to our democracy for any advertiser to fund a platform that fuels hate speech," which isn't a real thing, election denialism, and conspiracy theories. By the way, if these things were said on Twitter, it would make it no less valuable to advertisers. That's the thing. Any real advertisers out there who are selling real products who aren't like Fortune 500 companies, they don't care. They advertise where the conversions are. And if you have a marketing agency that is telling you anything else, they suck. They want, the reason my agency was so good and the reason that we never lost clients when I still did that was I didn't care. Like, my agency worked through the adpocalypse, and I had big name clients that did peel back spending in certain areas because they were afraid of their ads showing up on particular YouTube videos or whatever because they couldn't control them. They thought they couldn't control them. You can. It's very easy to control. But the idea that, it doesn't matter what people are talking about, whatever weird theories, Like if a bunch of people are talking about, I don't know, some wide about Bigfoot, okay, on Twitter, does it make it any less valuable to advertise on? No, of course not. The people are what make it valuable. It's not what they're talking about that makes it valuable. Elon has urged to press ahead with his controversial reforms at Twitter hours after he fired half the staff. The social media platform informed 3,700 workers they were being let go and would be paid out until the end of January or February to avoid falling afoul of California's employment notice laws. Musk insisted that the moves were necessary to make the company profitable, and on Friday morning tweeted that Twitter has a massive drop in revenue due to activist groups pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease activists. This is something that, I talked about in the video yesterday. We knew that this was going to happen because it's like when people tell you to say I'm sorry. They don't actually want you to say you're sorry. They don't care. Once you say you're sorry, they're going to say you did. I don't like the way you said I'm sorry. So they did it with Kyrie Irving, right? Kyrie Irving shared a link to a movie. Now, a movie that was not a good movie, okay? I acknowledge that. I'm not endorsing the movie he shared. But the dude got suspended from the NBA and dropped by Nike because he didn't say, I'm sorry, specifically. He said, I'm sorry in a lot of different ways, but I don't know, the mob, I'll say, wasn't happy. They wanted him to bend the knee. Extremely messed up, he wrote. They're trying to continue to destroy free speech in America. Oh my God. Malaysian gamer and journalist Ian Miles Chong. You mean the guy that got caught red-handed swatting another YouTuber? The videos out there online, you can just Google it, Elon Musk swats. Everyone's always like, it's so frustrating. Everyone forgives that. They're like, oh, bro, but he says the right things. So that's okay. He's one of our guys. No, one of our guys would never swat another YouTuber. There's rumors of him getting a dog, costing a dog their life because of another issue. The man stole money from me directly from a nonprofit before I knew who he was. Anyway, we'll take him out of the context. It's time to stop appeasing the activists because they will stop at nothing to hurt Twitter regardless of what you do. No kidding. Any idiot knows that. But Elon always looks at the verified tab. So Elon actually replied to that and agreed to it, basically saying, you're right, which, we knew what would happen. We knew that's what would happen, but Elon still has to play the game. Even now, he still has to play the game. Twitter Blue is not going to be enough to, offset advertisers. Look at Twitch, right? Twitch steals half of the subscription money from everybody who works for them for free, essentially. And then they still desperately need ad revenue. Creators don't need ad revenue because they make enough off the sub revenue. So it creates this weird issue. Maybe Twitter will take a run at being like Twitch and being a streaming service. Maybe Twitter will really truly become the X app that he talked about. Elon Musk posted a furious message to woke users who caused a massive drop in revenue. He said it was extremely messed up. Twitter employees started to receive the email around midnight the night before. We talked about that. Now, Elon Musk promises a thermonuclear name and shame as Twitter is losing $4 million a day. Elon Musk has threatened to out advertisers who are boycotting the firm since his Twitter takeover in a sensational rant on the platform itself. Probably a bold move. I don't really know. I think that there's a lot of Republican money. I think there's a lot of freedom first money. I think there's a lot of money in advertising, people who are free speech advocates or moderates. I mean, I'm pretty sure the MyPillow guy would spend a lot of money on your platform. Political candidates are going to spend money there, whether they pretend to or not. Tesla owner replies after the massive drop, and he says, "Hey, we're losing $4 million a day. That's what it is." Here's a tweet. "Thank you. A thermonuclear name and shame is exactly what will happen if this continues." it really is the only way because he has the people. You know, all these people who are pretending they're going to Mastodon. Have you tried using Mastodon? You think boomers are going on Mastodon? And guess what? Boomers make a big chunk of even older millennials like me. Mastodon isn't exactly super easy to interface into. And it silos all their users. So Elon Musk is getting kind of red-pilled in real time, tweeting out, you trash me all day, but it'll cost you $8, power to the people. There's this weird false narrative going on. You know, when you say regarding Twitter's reduction of force, unfortunately, there's no choice when the company's losing $4 million a day. Yeah. I don't think there is a choice in that case. They have to. You know, they have to. And like this whole narrative about Twitter not being moderated anymore is pure bunk. Like it's being completely made up by the media. Here's Yoel Roth, everyone's favorite guy to want to get fired. Okay, but he said, here are the facts about where Twitter's trust and safety and moderation capacity stand right now. TLDR, while we said goodbye to incredibly talented friends and colleagues yesterday, our core moderation capabilities remain in place. Yesterday's reduction in force affected approximately 15% of trust and safety organization, as opposed to approximately 50% of the company-wide, with our frontline moderation experiencing literally the least impact. Last week, for security reasons, we restricted our access to internal tools for some users, including some members on my team. Most of the 2,000 plus content moderators working on frontline review were not impacted, and access will be fully restored in the coming days. More than 80% of our incoming content moderation volume was completely unaffected by the access change. The daily volume of moderation actions we take stayed steady through this entire period, and then he shared the data. With early voting underway in the United States, our efforts on election integrity, including harmful misinformation that can suppress the vote and combating state-backed information ops, remain a top priority. What aren't we doing? In the short term, we have had to deprioritize workflows like lost passwords and some suspension appeals. That's it. But the media keeps saying, they're not moderating anything. No, they absolutely made no change. And any idiot news company that's running these articles or spreading this lie, they're just lying. They're trying to hurt Twitter. It's like a coordinated attack. And the reason they're doing it is because they now no longer have their thumb on the scales of democracy, and that scares them. Well, at least in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe, and we'll talk to you again real soon.